kids. These people have lives. You want them here. Why do you want them here? Working that way, 13, 14 hours. Have you seen? I live in Southern California. I'm going to tell you something. In the sweltering heat, I don't want, out of respect for the people that are working that hard on the corners, selling flowers and oranges and strawberries and whatever, out of respect to them, I'm not going to take a picture because what they do is so incredibly hard. Somebody is using them. And I hope that our legislatures, whoever it is, including Governor Newsom here in California and all the state legislature, will come to the bottom and get to the bottom of who is using these poor people. That's what my biggest thing is. If you're an immigrant and you're going to come down here for my family in Mexico, I would tell you to tell people, do not come down here. Do not come down here unless it's the legal way. So that way you are able to hold a job that is rightfully and respectful and honorable to every American. If you cannot get a job that every American can get, do not come over here because then you become a slave to the system. And that is my biggest thing. And people, if you are Hispanic and you're angry at the president, at the Congress for these deportations, I don't know what else to tell you, man, except that they are deporting the worst of the worst. And the people that are here illegally are being used. And if you can't see that, if you can't wrap that around your head, I don't know what else to say. Reparations to me are the reparations of these guys here. We should be paying for those that did not have families, that died in the Civil War, that died in the Revolutionary War, that died in the Civil War, that the war, the British War again, World War One, World War Two, Korean War, the Vietnam War, the wars in Iraq and the Middle East. Our veterans, the reparations should be for those. If you look at that, what ethnicity do you see in that picture? And yet we say reparations, reparations. This was Mexico, California, New Mexico, Arizona, what have you, Colorado. Reparations. How silly is that, man? Reparations should be for those that have died and shed blood for this country. Should be given to all the lives of lost men, their wives that were left behind, even in World War II, Korea War, Vietnam, all the wars. The men who answered the call that didn't need to go. And now from 1960 on, or from World War II on, Hispanics have an amazing record of, of valor. I'm talking now reparations for those men. I don't care what ethnicity. Now, the veterans that have fought for this country, the ones that are out there because they are thinking that they're not worth anything, they're homeless. Those are who we repair. Nobody else. Nobody else deserves it. I don't care what you say. No one else deserves it. My people lost millions of people in Mexico and Native Americans, Northern and all Latin America. I am not going to look back because this country's given me so much that I can be whoever I want to be in this country. This country is worth it. Those flags that you see, why I don't, and you have every right, and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, you have every right to burn the flag. I don't dispute that. Why I don't do it is because of the sacredness of this country and its constitution, the sacredness of what the flag represents, the respect that I have for the men and women who have died in war from the 1700s on. When I see second, third generation American kids of Mexican descent or Guatemalan descent or Honduran descent or whatever other descent burning that flag, it burns me up. It burns me to no end, but they have every right to do that. When I see them waving other countries' flags, they have every right to do that. Somebody died in this country for them to have that First Amendment right to do that. But what hurts not hurts. I don't get hurt like that. But what hurts is the fact that they have been indoctrinated, that they do not understand of this country's blessings. That if you were to go back to Mexico or Honduras or El Salvador or wherever it is, those rights aren't there. We just saw it in Egypt, how they treated the Western protesters. That's how the world is. It's not America. 99% of the world that is out there who wants to be here, even with our imperfection, 99% of the world wants to be here in this country. I would ask you, if you are burning a flag, if you are protesting just for the sake of protesting, to ask yourself, is it a good enough reason to burn a flag, to break somebody's car, to to um, to disrespect some other people's properties? The reparations should go to the wounded warriors in all branches instead of funding future voters for a political party. We indoctrinate our kids, and our kids are being indoctrinated with hate, self loathing that I have never seen in my life. The only time that I have seen that was when I read in 1930s Germany and post World War II Germany and Japan and Europe, where the psyche of the people was just so far down. We must let our kids know that this country is the best country in the world by far. No other country has this type of system. This just happened, guys. And I just put this in there because I am seeing what indoctrination does. When the rhetoric gets so bad to the point where people feel that their leaders are saying that this country's so bad, this country's so bad, bad orange man, racist orange man, racist orange man, racist people that wear red hats, racist people that wear red hats. This happens here. You start eating your own. When a party, political party, when a people, an ethnicity starts going against their own, it is because of everything that they have been taught, everything that's been reverberated throughout the their history, their lives. And this happens. This is atrocious. This is what happens when we get to the point of the rhetoric not knowing those responsible, and I hold the leaders responsible for this. One party in particular is doing this, and that's why I left that party. They flip the script and say that they're the ones that, for the people, for blacks, for Hispanics, when they were the ones that didn't vote. A single person voted for the rights of blacks to become citizens and to have rights. But the rhetoric has been turned. The rhetoric is the orange man bad. He's a king. He wants to be king. Let me ask you something. Would this guy allow protests like that? Would this guy here, right here, allow protests like that in 1930 and 1940? Would this guy allow for you to protest him? If the answer, you know the answer, it's no. So there's no fascism, guys. And don't use that word fascist, please. The rewriting of history is what happens. And I'm going to show you something. I keep hearing Nazis, that they're this, that they're that. I'm a conservative. I'm an independent conservative, more like a libertarian, not that crazy. No offense to my libertarian people that are listening. I hear this word Nazi. And to me, it should belong with the other N word that I keep hearing people use. National Socialist. Nazi. National Socialist. Let me let me give you a historical lesson. Nazis are not the ultra right. Nazis were his party of socialists, National Socialist Party. Don't be fooled with the rhetoric. The ultra left was a Nazi. The ultra left was a godless society that was so atheistic that they went against the Jews. They went against the Christians who protested, like Bonhoeffer. A Nazi was in their name socialist, owning the commerce, workers do the work for the good of society and government. Socialist, National Socialist of Germany. Nazis. Fascist, another word that has been overused by people that don't know any better. You ask the kids, they don't know that it was Mussolini's National Fascista, or PNF, Partito Nazionale Fascista. Who did he hang out with? Right? He took all the commerce. He didn't give it to the Italians. The National Party was a national party who took everything for their own good. Founded in 1919, led by this guy, Benito Mussolini. So please refrain from saying Nazi and fascist to people that you disagree with, because you don't know what fascist. If you are on the far left, you are the Nazi because you're a National Socialist. This guy was connected with them too. And then it gives you all the stuff. Now the fascism and Nazism has been changed, has been rewritten to say that it's a far right. It's all propaganda. All propaganda. Political ideology is characterized by two things: socialism and fascism, both being used liberally, for both are from the same theory. And I'll get to the bottom of who it is. When you say no king, you have to be careful what you're saying, because in 2020, this is my this is my rendition of what Biden was doing in 2020, 2021, 2022, along with Governor Newsom, along with others that were complete authoritarians. What is an authoritarian government? Stay home. You don't go to work. We're going to give you a vaccine passport. For those of you that don't want to take the vaccines, you stay home, you lose your job. You no longer work here. That is fascism, authoritarianism, and socialism. They tell people what to do, and the government does. Communism is a political and economic ideology advocating for a classless, stateless society where all property and means of production are collectively owned. Socialism is almost the same thing, except the economic and political system are the means of production, distribution, exchange are owned and regulated collectively, typically by the government. Sounds like California, doesn't it? While the rest of the gas prices are going down, we're going to be raising our gas prices. You think this is not correct? That I'm saying that President Biden was becoming a fascist authoritarian, the type of government that he was doing? Think again. It wasn't that far fetched. Look at the military behind him. Look at the red, and they're calling one person a fascist. But because it was your party, but because you went ahead and approved of it, it was okay to say people that were unvaccinated should be home, and that you were hoping that they would die and not give anybody else the the Wuhan virus, the coronavirus. Do you remember that? It's just been a few years, or have you forgotten? So for those of you that are angry at what's going on, I want you to look in the middle. Stay in the middle. Stay outside of your political party. Stay outside of everything and look at it like if you were a UN observer, for lack of a better word, because the UN, there's no such thing as observers. They lean on one way or the other. I am for a free people who work hard, who value life, who value their neighbor, who will go to the ends of the earth to fix stuff with their neighbors, to make sure that their neighbors are okay. If they're older neighbors, we take care of our neighbors. If they are older family, we take care of our family. We go to work, we pay our taxes, we live in peace so that others can live in peace too. This wasn't the part in 2020 and 21, 22. Wasn't like that. I remember the rhetoric. It was a hateful rhetoric for those that were standing strong and saying this vaccine has not been tested. No king's protest, you say. What do you see? It's okay for you to say that you want to kill the king. You're the guy that is the king. Let me tell you one thing. I in no never, when President Biden, if you notice what I say, President Biden, President Obama, President Clinton, President Reagan, President Bush, President Trump. I respect the title. I respect what that means. The actual presidency. You have to respect it. You don't respect the man. If you don't respect the man, that's I can't make you do that. But you respect the title because it is a place where people have voted for that person, whether you like them or not. I disagree with this 86-47. That, if you're from the hood, you know what that means. I don't have to say it. We are not a democracy. People, we are not a democracy. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic, and it's different. Over 77 million people voted for the man that you see in the presidency, President Trump. He's not a king. He was voted in. You know what's funny is, unlike the vice president, Kamala Harris, who was put in place and then later said, oh, yeah, we voted for her. You got rid of a sitting president when we knew what was wrong with him from the get go, from 2020 on. But nobody wanted to listen. I ask that when you vote, you don't vote with your emotions because emotions get in the way of facts. I ask that you vote with the facts on hand and that you vote with less emotion as possible. You can't. Everyone votes with emotions. It is our human side. But here's the thing: constitutional republic votes people in with an electoral college that will say yay or nay. Because what happens, it's a form of government where the people elect representatives to govern, and the government's power is very limited. And we're trying to give government, so this is why I am an independent. I want less and less power given to those in Washington, to those in Sacramento for my state, for Texans, where your capital is. For people in Washington state, where that's at. I don't want people having so much power that they can do whatever they want to do. Constitutional republic means that we are represented correctly. It is unlike a pure democracy, which it emphasizes a rule of law, checks and balances are gone. The majority can become tyrants if unchecked. Case in point, the guys from Venezuela. You know why they took over? They took over, even when the media was saying, no, 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 they haven't taken over any apartment complexes. No, 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 there's no gangs from Venezuela. There's no gangs from here. There's no gangs from there. They don't know our culture. They came in and they thought, because in Venezuela, it's a socialist country close on the brink of disaster. They came and took over because the majority rule. Mob rule is mob rule all over the world. And that's why the Constitution is so important. That's why I always tell people be careful what you wish for.